in just these 2 weeks, and it's only been 2 weeks since, he's basically clinched the nomination and he's going towards the general election campaign. But so far, I've seen nothing but business as usual for Democrats, which is utter and complete weakness, bowing to the Republicans and going in their direction. Now, I was hoping for the policy of hope and change. I thought that we were going to get some sort of change in how we ran things. I thought he was a change candidate. And so far, I've been honestly tremendously disappointed. Before we get into why, RJ, am I overdoing it, or do you share my concerns?
No, I share your concerns. Are you overdoing it? We'll have to wait and see. He hasn't done anything to me yet that's irredeemable or unforgivable. But, I went into this thinking to myself, I sort of had it calendared in my diary. The week after he clinches the nomination, be disappointed. Expect him to center himself. So it didn't entirely surprise me that he did it. Here's what surprised me and disappointed me, that he didn't do it smarter. And, I think of him as a brilliant guy, as a great chess player, but he's letting himself get painted into a corner here where if he continues to let them define the narrative, Republicans are strong on terror, being a prisoner of war makes you good at national security. If he continues to let them define the game and make these foolish mistakes, then he's going to stumble. And my feeling is he's in the process of stumbling. And my biggest criticism of the Hillary form of triangulation was that to win, the Democrats need an energized and enthusiastic base. That's the main reason I supported Barack Obama, because I thought his message excites and enthusiates the base. The base. Okay, I'm doing fine. But what I'm starting to worry about is if he starts to play this game that I don't want you to be afraid I'm too different, which I think is a message he's trying to get out, and I understand that. But if he does it in a way that diminishes this enthusiasm of the base, the Republicans understand, excite your base first and get them motivated to go door to door and give you money. If he's going to play their game so much so that people like you and me start to say, he's another politician, then he's stumbling.
Here's the principal difference. Okay, first of all, he's being ham-handed about this.
Right.
I don't mind you triangulating. Bill Clinton triangulated, and I thought his presidency was excellent. Now, a lot of progressives disagree with me.
Me included.
Right, and they can't stand the triangulation. Right. I get it. I understand it. It's a strategy, and it often works. Okay, but the question is, what do you triangulate on? Okay, so if Obama, let's take some of the things he's done over the last 2 weeks. If Obama says, you know what, I agree with the Supreme Court, you actually do have a right to own a gun. Now, how does that affect gun laws? That's a different question, and that's a fair question, and here are my views on what I think is proper gun control. I got no problem. Some people say, oh, no, come on, you can't say that the Supreme Court was right about the Second Amendment. But if he thinks that, he thinks that. Or if he wants to triangulate in that direction, that battle's already lost. I don't mind it, okay? If he's going to come out and say, hey, you know what, I'm for the death penalty for child rapists, I think it's goofy. I don't necessarily agree with him, but I'm going to give it to him. Okay, say
right.
that. I understand why you're doing it. You got to seem tough, etc. But there should be core issues, both on a policy level and on a political level, that you shouldn't compromise on, you shouldn't triangulate on. The main one in this case is this giving immunity to President Bush and the telecommunication companies for breaking the law. You shouldn't do that for two reasons. One, you're really jeopardizing the Fourth Amendment, and you can't play politics with that. That's a core issue. It's an issue that has not been resolved yet. And why are you going to let them do warrantless wiretapping of Americans and their overseas calls? It's unacceptable, okay? So there are things that you can triangulate, like Bill Clinton with the school outfits, et cetera, that it isn't important, and it's a good way of appearing to be this, what people are calling centrist, which I don't necessarily agree it is centrist. And then there are issues you shouldn't give in on, not just for policy, but also, this is my second point, on politics. Because if you say on this and on the General Clark comments, oh, no, backpedal, now I agree with the Republicans on FISA, I agree with them on warrantless wiretapping, I agree with them that, John McCain is the world's gift to war gods, and he's a war hero, and that makes him completely qualified to be commander-in-chief, and more importantly, as RJ pointed out, the Republicans are strong around national security. well, then you've done great damage to yourself politically, because you've accepted their frames, and once you accept their frames, you're going to lose that debate, right? And second of all, now you've created an image of yourself as weak and as a flip-flopper, which the Republicans have already beaten him up over with as soon as he flip-flopped on all of those issues. Why would you give him that ammunition when you were kicking their ass? In the primaries, when he hadn't flip-flopped at all, RJ, he was winning on all of those issues in every poll.